Tim Wood, Bill Bryant. I'm sure I'm in the shot. Bill Bryant. Ranger Nation Radio. Happy New Year, everybody. We are back and better than ever, or trying to be. Bill, I think I'm playing a little hurt, little flu action. You're playing a little hurt, some physical ailments, but we're here.
Hey, it's 2020, and you got to suck it up and move on, Tim. So here we are.
Happy New Year, man.
Happy New Year to you, too.
Absolutely. Okay, here's the big question we ask ourselves every year, and because I can partially see it in the background, when does the tree come down?
It should have came down Sunday.
Really? You're that guy? See, me, I feel like once it stops snowing, I'll take the tree down.
I think we would do that if we watered the tree better.
Okay, all right. See, because ours is artificial, so.
Oh no, it's a real tree. It's ready to burst in flames.
Yeah, we can't do it. We can't do it with allergies. So.
Yeah, no, we love the real tree, and we talk every year, and we just can't do it. So.
Okay, that's got to go.
It's looking pretty dry.
Yeah, I bet.
All the other decorations are down. The wife's walking in right now.
All right, it's dry now, but it wasn't dry.
It wasn't that bad. She's like, it's not that bad.
So it's outside stuff won't come down until probably June, July. The lights and the reindeer and all that stuff.
I can be in the background undoing the tree while you're doing.
Yeah, that's not happening.
The lovely Pam Bryant.
Yes, as always.
Making the cameo. So, listen. Ranger Nation continues rolling. A lot of good things happening. Big win last night, and you were there. You were there for it. I am shocked, quite honestly. I admit that I gave up on it. I follow if I'm not there, I follow everything on Twitter or wherever, and that one looked like a goner against Lowell. Real girls basketball. That looked like a goner real quick. And
so,
what the heck happened?
So on paper, I get to the game. I get there a little bit early. I grab the rosters. I'm moonlighting a little bit. I told Methuen Cable that if they were stuck in a pinch, that I would jump in.
Sure.
I love helping out and being part of Ranger Nation and all that. So I got a text early in the day and that, could I come by and help out the game? So I'm looking at the records on Max Preps, and it's like, okay, there's some similar losses, and maybe this is going to be a good game and a chance for the Lady Rangers to pull out a win. And Lowell had another story for them. They came out and just absolutely ran all over the court, out hustled, out rebounded. If you end up watching the play-by-play on MCTV, I was getting furious at how many offensive rebounds Lowell was getting. So they weren't shooting great, but they were getting offensive rebound after offensive rebound and putting it back up.
Athena Moet, Davis, Kiana Prawn, they are all active.
Yeah, Athena is no joke.
Yeah.
And we'll talk about her and how the victory for Methuen came about, because girls that you're probably not going to read about in the paper were the two girls that took care of Athena Moet in the second half, and it was, to me, the key to the game. Obviously, you got to score more points and all that, but two of the the unsung heroes on that team took care of her. But so here I am, Tim. It's a cold winter night. I'm at the field house watching this game. Methuen scores 2 points in the second quarter. They're down by 18, and I'll be honest, I'm like, what the heck am I?
Leave it there, because we'll tell the rest of the story. I just want to set the scene for the rest of the show. So we've got an interview with boys hockey star Aidan Hollingsworth. Great interview. Just a great kid, a great leader,
awesome kid.
And he was up to the challenge in terms of talking. As all these kids are. It's amazing. They're just unbelievable.
He's a pretty shy kid too. So I'm pumped that he was so talkative.
Absolutely. I wouldn't say like chatty, but like a little personality. You know, I got him to start talking about like NHL 20 and the Bruins and
Oh, cool.
you know, so he was and how he kind of rules the roost on the video game chart among his teammates. You know, so. Yeah, got a little life out of him, so we'll play that in a little bit. Listen, great things going on all over the gymnastics. I mean,
Were they 5-0?
5-0. Gymnastics has been just out of sight. Adiamas Ramos has been amazing. Molly Bealey, Emily Lone, Andrew Monair.
No, Monair.
Huh?
Monair.
Thank you. Monair. Nick Gomez, all of them with big event wins over the last couple of weeks as part of the meets, and they've been on a roll. Wrestling continues to dominate. Now the interview that the quote unquote lost interview, we played it. We did it last week. We were off last week, but I interviewed CJ Brown. And CJ was outstanding. CJ actually won the MVP vote for wrestling for NBC Sports Today this week. So you can see the interview on the Methuen Today, the Ranger Nation Radio Facebook. You can see it on the NBC Sports Today Twitter. He did a great job. He's on a roll. He's currently ranked number 9 in the state. He'll probably move up on Friday's standings, considering he's beaten a couple of bigwigs here. And the Rangers as a whole are on a roll. And I'm just checking to see they are wrestling, I believe, North Andover tonight.
Yeah.
And wrestling wins 48-27. So wrestling moves.
And North Andover is not a joke program.
No,
I mean,
not
they're a solid program, and this is Methuen's down year again in wrestling.
Yeah, down. Yeah. So yeah, North Andover came in. Let's see, 3-1. I think they came in around 5-6, but just barely lost to Haverhill.
Who's one of the top teams, beat Methuen last year.
What'd you say?
I mean, Haverhill beat Methuen last year.
Yeah. So
Haverhill's not a they're a good program.
That's what I'm saying. They just barely lost to Haverhill. Now, I mean, was Haverhill wrestling everybody? I don't know, but nonetheless, North Andover's a good program. CJ Brown, Dom DeMeo, Joe Ganji. That's what we know so far in terms of pins. So Methuen moves to, I believe, get the records here. They are now 6-0, 2-0 in the MVC. So congrats to the Rangers. I mean, listen, you got Brown, you got Michael Crow at 113, Joe Ganji at 138, Dom DeMeo at 152. Again, like you said, they're supposed to be down, but I mean, Coach James just reloads, right?
It's really next man up. He gets everybody ready, whether you're wrestling on varsity or not, and he has such a turnout, and kids just keep staying year after year, regardless of their getting a shot or not. So he can reload by coaching kids up and getting them ready, and here we are.
Hockey. I mean, boys hockey.
They're battling.
Is battling, and four in a row they've lost, but I think by 4 total goals.
Right.
Well, 3 of them were 1-goal games, but I mean they're battling. Like you said, they're battling, and you'll hear Aidan talk about it. They've had some really good games. Girls hockey's on a roll. They're playing Masco tonight. We'll have some.
They're learning how to score. It seems, Tim. I haven't been to a game yet, but just through what I'm reading, it's almost like you called it. They lost their star scorers over the last 3 years, and now you have I don't want to say role players, but kids that haven't really been called on to score. And just seems the way it's playing out is girls are getting more assists, getting more opportunities to score, and their confidence are going up, and they're learning how to play and skate with each other at such a high level.
I mean, because you've never been, you've been, I won't say background, but you've never been asked to be in the forefront. You know, so
you've been the other guy.
Yeah, yeah. So they're getting the shot. They're being called on, and to me, that's why sports always changes. That's why sports is always awesome, because you just never know. You know, you get that shot. You never know who's going to step up and become, get a shot to come in when Bledsoe goes down, and 20 years later he's in the Hall of Fame. I mean that, right. But I mean that's sports on every level. It's the most fun thing to see kids live up, especially kids live up to the potential that's inside, and it sets them up for life.
Right.
So we'll talk some hockey.
Got indoor track is out there competing.
Absolutely, indoor track's got their championship meet, and one of the boys is setting some state standards in terms of his times. We'll talk a little bit about that. And we'll talk boys, girls hoops. We'll talk it all. We'll take a quick break, set the table, come back. We'll start with girls hoops because it's really a hell of a story, right?
Legendary. Second half.
Legendary.
Second half.
Shirt. All right, we'll take a quick break. Come back at you in 2 and 2 here on Ranger Nation Radio, presented by AFC. You told me never to say 2 and 2 again, right? Was it you? Somebody told me to never do that again.
No, it's probably Hector.
Yeah, I think it was Hector. You're right. Yeah.
It was probably Hector.
We miss you, Hector. All right, we'll be back in a second here.
No, we don't.
What'd you say? No, I don't?
No, we don't.
We'll be back in a second here on Ranger Nation Radio, presented by AFC Urgent Care, the right care right now. Big shout out to the folks at AFC Urgent Care, Lisa Williams and her team over there. AFC Urgent Care, the right care right now. You'll never need an appointment. Got that persistent cough and cold, that cut that needs a few stitching, or need a sports physical and don't want to wait weeks to get into your primary doctor? AFC's streamlined approach helps you be seen quickly and feel better fast. In Methuen, in the Merrimack Street Medical Professionals Building, 380R Merrimack Street, in North Andover as well, in the Burton Grill Plaza, 8 to 8 Monday to Friday, 8 to 5 Saturday and Sunday. Go to afcurgentcare.com for more details. It's a dream to own your own business, and Val and Susan Davila made that a reality in February 2013. They started with just 2 insurance carriers, but now right-in-place insurance for Progressive, Safeco, Pilgrim, Plymouth Rock, and MAPFRE, just to name a few. Need auto insurance, renters, commercial, or home? I just asked Val and his crew to find me a better auto and home insurance deal, and he connected me with Plymouth Rock, where I'm saving more than 40% over my previous insurance. Now, your results may vary, but give Davila and DeFusco a try. They pride themselves on having lifelong roots in the Merrimack Valley. Put their experience to work for you. Visit them at 225 Broadway or call 978-241-7950 for a free quote, or check them out at daviladefusco.com. Back here on Ranger Nation Radio, presented by AFC Urgent Care. Tim Wood, Bill Bryant, and you. So, let's start with girls hoops. Listen, so the record is not phenomenal. But their record this week is 1-0. That's all we know. And it was a hell of a way to get it started this week, right, Bill?
It was an easy game to just lay down and give up, go home, put your pajamas on, grab the blanket, throw in a movie, and you're all done for the day. And to be quite honest, I really thought they were going to. I had several people say to me, "What were you thinking you were going to talk about in the second half of that game?" And I had,
who'd you do it with? Was it just you?
It was Chris Daw. He's a high school
Jim's
student.
son. Okay.
Jim's son, and heck of a kid, and to the point where at halftime we're talking, and of course, Jamie Atkinson is just very easy to make fun of in a nice way.
In a fun way.
In a fun way.
He's got endless cliches in terms of the Big Bang Boom and yeah.
You got it. So I was reminding Chris how he let me know that he was so happy that I was here and not Jamie, and I guess I wasn't supposed to say that on air. So, I'm thinking, what the hell are we going to talk about in the second half of this game? Because Lowell is just dominating their defensive pressure and all that. And Methuen came out, did a full court press, and Chris mentioned, look, they've changed up the defense, and here we go. And Methuen comes down, misses a layup. Lowell goes down and scores. I'm like, oh, geez, here we go. And then that was it. From that point on, the girls just made a decision to dive for every ball. I can't think of her first name. I can't believe I just lost it. Melia was is it Devin Melia?
Megan
Melia is a junior, and she jumped on Lowell's best player, Tao. What's the girl's name, Tim? You said
Athena Moat. Yep.
Athena Moat. And I'm not going to say shut her down, because Athena pretty much could score at any point, even triple teams. She was dribbling behind the back, between the legs. She was cutting through people. But Melia wore her down. She had to work her tail off from the beginning of getting the ball out of bounds all the way up the court, and she gassed her. She absolutely gassed her. They kept taking her out to give her a rest, putting her back in, and she never got the command of the court like she had in the first half. And other girls started picking up, and Melia kept getting rebounds and diving on the floor, and then Bellacchini dove out of bounds and tapped the ball in and led to a basket. And then, of course, our Tadugno sisters started hitting the threes, and Maren Donovan started getting some rebounds, and her confidence shot up, and that 18-point lead.
This is not an easy. Lowell is. They're a one-win team as well, but they got three talented kids that you got to shut down. So that's not an easy team to come back against.
And their losses are 5 points, 6 points. Methuen's had a couple of, like North Andover really put one on Methuen. So
yep.
Lowell's one of those teams that is definitely way better than their record. And is in a tough division and things like that. But the girls really. So Melia and then a girl Vasquez. Basically, basically the second half, Tim, they shadowed Lowell's best player and Moet and just really took her out of the game. And there was other things. There was another girl that was hitting threes for Lowell. So Lowell never gave up, but Methuen definitely out-hustled them in the second half and were diving out of bounds. And you and I, before the show, were talking about the interview that Vasquez really, at the end of the game, the last 12 seconds, gave up. She could have landed face first on the court, and I don't think she would have cared.
She dove for it.
The way
and then did a flip to get herself back up.
See how you dive for something, and you kind of dive on your side, and you kind of tap it in, and you're going to hit your shoulder and whatnot.
Yeah.
This is not how she dove. She literally Supermaned over a couple of girls fighting for a ball, because the ball was clearly out on Methuen. She Superman dove, tapped the ball in, and it looked like, for me, the angle I had, the coach, I had the ref, it looked like she landed like on her head or her face and like rolled over. And I'm like, did she just roll? Like, it was crazy. But the ball stayed in bounds, so the play continued. So I don't think you really realized what she did. So I'm so glad that our AD asked the girls about it, because to me, those are the small things when you're struggling that are going to help you pull out a victory. And that was one of those plays that you could easily say, oh, we missed this layup, that's why we lost. We won the game because of play like that. And the girl Melia just really defensively, shut down Lowell's. To me, their top leader out in the court.
Let's play that interview we were talking about. AD Matt Current caught up with Olivia Barron and Stephanie Tardugno today.
All right, we're here with Olivia Barron, Stephanie Tugdigno. Girls, big win last night. Down 25-7 at the half. Come back to win 52-49. Liv, can you talk about kind of the adjustments you made at halftime?
Yeah, we met in the locker room and we talked about how we needed to get going and we needed to start working as a team. So it kind of lit a match under us and we started working together and got the points up, which helped us. Nice.
You had a big third quarter. Can you just talk about kind of what got into you and just talk about the third quarter, the fourth quarter, and kind of what you think was the key to coming back and earning our first win of the year?
Yeah, everyone was doing little things on the court and everyone was putting their thing in, which was helping us do better, and I was just getting the momentum, so I wanted to help the team as much as I could.
Nice.
Yeah, led us into the fourth quarter.
Awesome. Steph, you had 17 points last night, 2 big free throws down the stretch. Can you talk about the win, the game, everything that happened last night?
It was just a great comeback. It was a great team win. Everyone pitched in, everybody helped, and we started to build a lot of momentum beginning in the third quarter when we led off with an 8-0 run, and everyone was just feeding off of each other, and it was great.
So, girls, the two of you were the leading scorers. Stephanie, 17, Olivia, 15. Anyone else on the team you want to give a shout-out to, whether it was their smart play on the defensive end, anything like that?
I mean, Mill did a handstand to catch the ball and save it in bounds, so that was a really tough play, and then that got the momentum of other team players.
That's Yarmilla's fast catch, right?
Yes, yeah. That was a huge play, and she just played really hard, and I'm really proud of her because she really stepped up and played a big part in yesterday's game.
Awesome. All right, girls, congratulations. Good luck Friday.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And there's the two stars of the game, Barron and Tardagno. So, first win for new head coach Hillary Glynn. So, congratulations there. And hopefully this is a jump start for a young team that's trying to figure things out, right?
Oh, you can only build off of that, Tim. You really can, because it's a dipstick for success. If you hustle, do the little things. The first half, they must have missed 8, 9 layups, probably 15 turnovers, just passes that they shouldn't have made. And afterwards, you can tell, like, Bellacchini, who is a kid who I just really admire her athleticism.
Do you have your Facebook on?
I'm sorry, I thought I muted it. Bellacchini, who I'm a big fan of, was struggling the first half. Not her hustle, not her determination, but just decision-making and things like that, and to see them turn around and go I know I'm talking a ton about the game, but being there and seeing such a win for a group of kids, you have a losing season, it really stinks, but when you can pull out a victory like that, it's really kind of a small dipstick of life, if you hustle, anything can happen. So it's
they got a tough
definitely
stretch
exciting
here.
to talk about.
They got a tough stretch here. They're going to Bill Ricca on Friday.
Billerica, Chelmsford,
yep.
Those are elite programs that never seem to have a down year, and it's something that Methuen. I know I say this every time we talk, but Methuen has to really have a conversation with itself about why is our girls basketball program not producing like it did in the past or have the numbers. I know there's some 4th and 5th grade teams coming up that have some talent, but to be honest with you, Tim, these are specific moms and dads that are doing year-round basketball with a group of girls.
Yeah.
That's not enough. That's not enough because you lose some of these kids to Central, to Lowell Catholic, to just moving out or just losing interest. You need a good 35, 40 girls in each grade that are playing regular basketball, and we don't have that. And we don't have enough court time. We have a 1st grade, 2nd grade, 3rd grade basketball program.
There's not even enough court time for the boys, let alone
right.
adding in. Yeah,
I mean for travel, never mind like an in-house or whatnot. We just don't have the numbers. So to see these kids out there, these are the girls on the court last night were athletes. They're softball players, they're lacrosse players, they're field hockey players, they're volleyball players, and also play basketball.
Yep.
And I know that was something that Garibaldi was frustrated with, is he just didn't get the commitment year round. Because you don't have the numbers. You just don't have enough girls playing, and that starts early on.
I mean, truth be told, if they didn't have the multi-sports athletes playing for them, they wouldn't have a team. So.
And in fairness, you are missing a 14-point scorer last year. Caitlin Tierney, as a freshman was averaging 14 against anybody. So hitting the 3-pointers. So obviously. you have Steph Tadugno, but and her younger sister,
Brooke.
Brooke is a freshman who can hit, but just a different player than Caitlin. And you got Marelius Morales, who's a junior, who's your tough, scrappy rebounder, leader, who is also out with a little tweak of an injury. So you're missing a couple kids that are your top 5-6 players. So that doesn't help.
It's just going to be interesting to see what they do from here, because you find that you find that one way to get over the hump and get that win could definitely be a spark. So we'll see what happens with them. So boys hoops ran up against the juggernaut for sure last night. Lowell is state ranked. They are dominant, and between Nate Seau and
Nunez
and Etienne, Richie Etienne, and then they added in a kid last night who hadn't played for him at all, Durham. I don't know his first name, but Durham, and he ends up getting 14 points and 8 rebounds.
When you say hadn't played, he had been on the roster, or is he a new move-in or something like that?
I don't know if he was hurt. I think he was on the roster and he was just hurt.
Hurt?
Yeah. Or it might, to be honest, I don't know. I was asking around today, because I've got to send you the spreadsheet that we do for MVC, because I'm tracking everything. So, Durham hasn't been on any box scores before. So it's like the rich getting richer,
And Methuen didn't, it was a big loss for them. They lost by 20 points or whatever.
Yeah,
but they're not a pushover either, though.
No.
They're going to battle. They're going to fight.
No, listen,
over the
they
holiday
beat North
tournament.
Andover. They beat Bishop Girton in the tournament. In the holiday tournament, they played St. John's tough in the finals. Came down to 1 point. So, and listen, they've got some weapons. The Rangers definitely have some weapons. Lucier is becoming more of a threat. Kevin Garcia has been pretty consistent. Had a down game against Lowell, but Mitchell Crow's been a dominant 3-point shooter. So they have some weapons. He has a lot of kids on that roster. That's the other thing I noticed.
Yeah, he does. Yeah.
So
he had a few move-ins that I think they're trying to see who can really step up and shine. And I think one of the things they're missing is in the paint, because Lucier is a big boy, but he's more of an outside shooter, and they don't have anyone that's really can control the paint, which makes it really tough when you're an outside shooting team like that.
Crow, Lucier, Garcia, so far in terms of what we're tracking for MVC Sports today, they're all in the top 25 scorers around the MVC. So the Rangers have some weapons. They just got to keep putting together these full games. And listen, they're gonna get a test on Friday at Lawrence, on Friday at Lawrence,
who just came off a big loss to Haverhill. So Lawrence is definitely beatable.
They are, and they've been up and down. They had a good tournament, but they had a 3-game stretch there, won 3 in a row. But they lost to Drake by 2. They lost to Haverhill by 3. So they're a little down right now. So definitely beatable. Don't want to provide any bulletin board material because they've got some weapons. Zorilla is a beast inside. So I think he had 22 rebounds against Drake. 19 points and 22 rebounds. So
that'll get you noticed.
A little bit. So I listen. The boys are in the middle of the pack right now. Nobody's touching Lowell. I feel definitive in saying that. Central lost to them at home by 7 to start the season. Central is getting better and better, but I don't know. Lowell is definitely the class right now.
Oh, without question.
Yeah.
Without question.
So, but we'll see. Lawrence on Friday. That's at Lawrence. Their next home game is the 12th, which would be Sunday, right? Sunday.
Against Greater Lawrence.
Greater Lawrence, yeah. Okay. What time would that game be? 3?
I think it is 3 o'clock.
Okay.
I think JV is 12:30 and then 3.
Got it. Okay. That's not. Is that going to move Unified? Is Unified still practice on Sundays?
We are at the Tenny.
At the Tenny. Okay. All right. So that's boys hoops. Let's see what else.
And for people that don't know what you're talking about, Tim, that's the Methuen Youth Basketball Unified program that had its kickoff last Sunday, and it was phenomenal. We had I think about 30 kids there. We had more parents than we've ever had before. There was a ton of parents there hanging out, maybe because it was our first weekend, but a ton of volunteers, and it was just an absolute great time. So Unified Youth Basketball is kicked off 12:30 to 2 o'clock at the Tenny, and we're pretty excited. And we have some new faces, and Rich Napolitano donated the shirts to us this year, so we have the nice what do you call it? Nice material
Breathable.
shirts. What is it?
Breathable material.
Breathable material. Thank you. I can't find my words tonight. Breathable material. The kids were really pumped about the shirts, and we're excited.
Nice. All right, so gymnastics. Let's talk gymnastics. Neither one of us are gymnasts, but I'll tell you, maybe you back in the day, not me. Not certain.
No. Yeah, I did the rings, Tim.
Got it. I could see you doing the rings. Gymnastics off to a phenomenal start. And another one of those things that I got to ask, just in terms of, I thought I'd send a text to Matt in terms of their start. Like, have they gotten off to this kind of start? They're 5-0 to start the season. And
I think his last tweet said that this is the best start they've ever had.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I mean, listen, we talked to her in our first show of the year, Adiamos Ramos. She has been dominant for the Rangers. 5 individual event wins, 2 all-around wins. Andrew Moner, 2 wins on the vault. Molly Bealey, 3 event wins overall. She's been very strong in the all-around as well. Rangers beat Lowell 136-124 on January 6th. Ramos had a stellar night that's going to land her in the MVP, all MVC MVP vote again this week for sure. She was number 1 on the bars, season best 8.5 on the bars, season best on the beam as well. She won beams, tied her season best 9.0, and first all around, season best 35.2 for her in the all around, which is just simply a compilation of all the events, their scores from all the events that they participate in. So Molly Bealey won the floor exercise, and Nick Gomez got his first win of this event win of the season on the vault. So they got a lot of contributors, Bill. No,
they do, and it's good to see. And as I'm looking through the roster, there's some young kids coming up that have been participating in interstate gymnastics for a few years. So you're starting to see these kids stay and go to Methuen, as opposed to going to these other schools that I don't really like to talk about.
I think the thing that is so encouraging to me is that you have, like you said, you have the connection with interstate, and you have the Methuen high school kids coaching there at interstate as well. So there's this deep connection being built between the high school and the younger kids, with the athletes, and which is phenomenal. And
if you go to Facebook for the Methuen High Athletic Department, they have a nice picture of the kids, and it says one of the 5-0, one of the best starts in program history.
It's gotta be,
Which we keep hearing that. Swimming, first time ever beating Haverhill, one of the best starts in the program. So here we are. Another program at Methuen High doing really well.
I mean they're beating strong programs. They took down Lowell, they took down North Andover, Drake at Tewksbury, Haverhill. So very, very strong programs, big wins for the Rangers thus far this season. They continue their season on the 15th at the co-op at Billerica, Chelmsford, Tingsboro. So, and then the showdown on February 3rd was Central at I gotta check if that's gonna be at the high school or that's gonna be at Interstate. Why wouldn't they have the meets at the high school now? Is it simply because the gym's probably already booked? They weren't.
I would say the schedule.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When they set up the schedule, they didn't know in terms of the field house being ready. So.
Yeah. I don't know if you read. I mean, wrestling. The MIAA keeps coming back to Methuen. Hey, can you host this? You know, and there's a history where schools have never hosted 2 main tournaments.
Yeah.
They're talking about
4.
Methuen this year hosting 4
Yeah.
right off the holiday tournament where they hosted both the girls and boys MVC basketball tournament. You know what I mean? So it's people have to recognize we have one of the best facilities around, and this is what happens when you treat your property well and you take care of your facilities. More people come. We raised over $4,500 in the concessions during the holiday tournament.
Wow.
So that's money that now goes back to Methuen High athletes off of people coming in and watching a game that presents your high school as a great place to go. And the kids talking, wow, look at this field house and the track and the floor and the new courts. And it just, people have to understand that when you invest correctly, it pays back. But it also brings the spirit up of the athletes that are there that go to school. Like, wow, we have a really great school, and the pride and all that kind of goes up. People have to realize that.
Without a doubt. All right, so we'll take a quick break here. We'll come back. We'll talk hockey and we'll talk wrestling. We'll get a update for you on the Masco showdown with girls hockey. We'll take a quick break, come back at you right after this on Ranger Nation Radio, presented by AFC Urgent Care, the right care right now. Big shout out to the folks at AFC Urgent Care, Lisa Williams and her team over there. AFC Urgent Care, the right care right now. You'll never need an appointment. Got that persistent cough and cold, that cut that needs a few stitching, or need a sports physical and don't want to wait weeks to get into your primary doctor? AFC's streamlined approach helps you be seen quickly and feel better fast. In Methuen, in the Merrimack Street Medical Professionals Building, 380R Merrimack Street. In North Andover as well, in the Burton Grill Plaza, 8 to 8 Monday to Friday, 8 to 5 Saturday and Sunday. Go to afcurgentcare.com for more details. It's a dream to own your own business, and Val and Susan Davila made that a reality in February 2013. They started with just 2 insurance carriers, but now right-in-place insurance for Progressive, Safeco, Pilgrim, Plymouth Rock, and MAPFRE, just to name a few. Need auto insurance, renters, commercial, or home? I just asked Val and his crew to find me a better auto and home insurance deal, and he connected me with Plymouth Rock, where I'm saving more than 40% over my previous insurance. Now, your results may vary, but give Davila and DeFusco a try. They pride themselves on having lifelong roots in the Merrimack Valley. Put their experience to work for you. Visit them at 225 Broadway or call 978-241-7950 for a free quote, or check them out at Davila. Tim Wood, Bill Bryant, back here on Ranger Nation Radio, presented by AFC Urgent Care, the right care right now. Bill, I always feel like I get in a spot when I go here on the pop culture front with you, but I'm doing it anyway. Jeopardy.
Oh, here we go.
Jeopardy, the Tournament of Champions. You watching?
I'm not. I can really only do one thing at a time. So when I was on Twitter watching Anthony Romano's,
I'm not saying right now. I'm talking about like.
Oh, of course, I watch Jeopardy. Yeah.
No, it's on like this is the ultimate Tournament of Champions. It's on ABC primetime. You haven't heard about this?
No, I haven't.
Oh, you live in some bubbles. You really you live in good bubbles, but they're bubbles. So it's Ken Jennings who has the longest ever winning streak.
Yeah. How did he finally lose? I never caught that.
I don't know. It was a long time ago.
Did he just say, "Okay, I'm all done"?
Yeah. He just got tired. 74 wins. You have Brad Nutter, who's probably the least known, but he's won like 9 of these like all-star tournaments. Has like $3.8 million all time. So the richest winner. And then you have our boy James Holzhauer, who had that streak earlier in the year that just got that. So it's the 3 of them. They're playing on ABC. They play 2 games per night. The cumulative counts as 1 point each night. The cumulative of those 2 games count 1 point each night, and they will play. And this tournament will go on until one of them wins 3 nights, and they get $1 million.
Wow.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's like, and listen, I'm a Jeopardy nerd. I've always watched it. I watched it with my dad. I was like, have I ever told you my Jeopardy story?
You have not. All these years, Tim.
So college, I tried out for the college Jeopardy tournament when I was at Fordham, and I got all the way through, like a wrestling tournament you would see with like 144 people. I got all the way through. They took 16. And I got all the way through to the round of 24 where they made the final cuts to 16, and I pulled a Cliff Clavin in Final Jeopardy, and just bet like $28 more than I needed to, and missed the question, and the guy from USC beat me, and he goes on to the tournament.
Oh no!
Yeah. I was so, but yeah, I always like Jeopardy.
I love the Cliff Clavin reference.
That's all time, right? And again, listen, if you don't know the ref, we're all farts. Cliff Clavin, Cheers, old time comedy, one of the best of all time. Look up Cliff Clavin Jeopardy. It's one of the best sitcom bits in comedy history, I think. So, anyway, so. That's on TV tonight and throughout the week as long as this tournament goes on. So that's the worldview on the competitive end. Let's go back to Methuen. Girls hockey is on a roll. They have won. They're on a 3-game win streak. They are now 3-1-2 in the league. About 1-0-1 in the league, 3-1-2 overall. And they're playing Masco tonight. Latest update is 1-0. Unless you've got a newer update, I got 1-0. Methuen Tewksbury. Jess Driscoll with the lone goal, and she now has 6 goals for the season.
To say that's the girl who's starting to really chug along, and
yes. She's coming along. Lydia Pendleton starting to, and Lydia was a contributor. She was kind of one of those the supporting cast last year, and she's starting to score some goals. This Riley Sheehan scored her first 2 varsity goals ever against Acton Boxborough. And then she scored again in their last win.
Is it Needham?
Needham, yep, 2-0. And Hollingsworth got her first shutout of the season, 29 saves. So a lot of things starting to click for them.
Yeah, Tim, I think they're a very good team that people have to understand. When they started out, they were in a pretty low division, and every year they've jumped 2 divisions where they're in the top division. And what happened to them last year, if my memory serves, is all of the lower division teams that were playing them stopped playing them. So they've got to go out. They have to go out and find other top teams and travel and do all this stuff because no one wants to play them because of how good they are. So their competition has just they're playing all the best teams across the state.
All right, so update from the rink, 2-0 now. Methuen Tewksbury. Nice. Brenna Green with the goal.
Wow.
Her second goal of the season. Tori Shilley. Yeah. Is it Shilley or Shill? Tori Shilley.
I don't know her.
and Lydia Pendleton on the assists, and then I guess Hollingsworth made a phenomenal save on a breakaway to keep it 2-0. So Red Rangers well on their way. Don't want to jinx anything, but well on their way to keeping the streak alive here. Big showdown.
When you give the best goalie a 2-0 lead, it's not too often that you squander that.
Nothing to shake at, absolutely. So their big showdown, and listen, Gary Kane and HPNA have made no bones about this. They circled this matchup January 11th on their calendar. They've never beaten Methuen Tewksbury, and like that's their goal. And they are right now. They are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5-0-1, and playing Acton Boxborough tonight. That's likely a win. So,
Tim, what does HPNA stand for?
Haverhill, Pentucket, North Andover.
So just to put it in perspective, Haverhill, Pentucket, and North Andover towns all combined.
Yeah.
And these aren't towns that just started hockey out. These are towns that have had real good hockey programs for a long time that have now a try team.
Why the try?
If
they've got great programs or have had great programs,
I'm a little baffled.
Yeah. Numbers,
I
guess. Right. I
mean,
obviously numbers.
But you still have Methuen that still has grammar school kids that are still playing. So
yeah.
I hope that the tri team there that is 5-0-1 has some number issues.
That's definitely the showdown of the early season here is going to be Saturday. What time Saturday? Let's see.
I thought it was a night game.
No, excuse me. Yeah, Saturday at let me check it. Let me check. Anyway, it's a Saturday home game. Bill, if you're watching and Matt, if you're watching and want to text us, or if anybody on Facebook wants to let us know here, we should know. I've got like 4 screens up right now, so.
And they have no schedule on Max Preps either. I know Matt sends out the weekly schedule, but I don't think it had this Saturday on it. I'm looking right now.
Here we go. Saturday. Come on. Girls varsity. 7 p.m. 7 p.m. HPNA versus Methuen Tewksbury at MHS. So a good Saturday night out for sure. That's going to be a good showdown. And especially if Methuen Tewksbury can close out tonight. So good things brewing. Again, a team that's just kind of finding their way. What is this? I mean, we knew Sarah O'Terry's a good coach. But, I mean, this is a situation where it's like, okay, she's a good coach. I mean, this team lost all of its scoring and is still 3-1-2, maybe 4-1-2 after tonight.
And you still have girls that played for her a few years ago that are setting records in college, college hockey too, and so that's good to see that it didn't just stop in high school and they kept going and so what is Sarah doing in her free time? She starts a Methuen Ranger youth program to make sure that the dynasty continues. So once again, it's about getting the youth to play, Tim, and getting them involved early on, skating and skill development, and then you see those girls keep coming to the program.
I don't know what I don't know. Oh, you know what I did? I think I had it. I think I was a week ahead here in terms of where my head was at. I had the Bill Ricka game was next, but No, HPNA, Saturday night, 7 p.m. Big game. And shout-outs to Lydia Pendleton, Jessica Driscoll, 2 of the first 3 MVP, weekly MVPs, girls hockey MVPs. Lydia in week 1, Jessica this past week. So shout out to them. Shout out to just the Methuen community and the Tewksbury community for getting out the vote for them.
So, Jim, just so people know, on Saturday the 11th, boys are at 5 o'clock.
Okay.
At the ice rink against Newton South. And then the girls are playing, like you said, Behavioral, Pentucket, North Andover, Connecticut, Rhode Island, Maine, Vermont.
Listen, that'll be a great game. That'll be a great showdown with Newton South. Newton South, decent team, beatable though. So, speaking of boys hockey, again, a tough loss today. They fell to Drake it. They fell 4-3 to Drake it. Aidan Hollingsworth, Colby Scott, Ethan Shenna, all got goals for the Rangers in the loss. It's a 4-game losing streak now. They lost to Cambridge 4-3. They lost to Lincoln Sudbury 5-4, and then they lost to Bedford 5-1. So I mean, like I said, they've been playing everybody tough, and even the 5-1 game was close. I think got away at the end, but Bill Blackwell, he's got this young team, and we'll hear from Aidan Hollingsworth in a little bit here, but he's got this young team playing scrappy and hard.
Really playing a lot better. Like I said, when you have a couple of seniors in Horan and Severio that transfer out their senior year and leave, one a forward, one a defensive person starter, that's a huge loss, and it's hard to recover. And for these kids to be battling the way they are and keeping things close, they haven't given up, which just says a lot about their integrity and intestinal fortitude.
So as we mentioned, Hollingsworth now he's got 8 goals. Shenna's got 5 goals, 7 assists. So Shenna and Hollingsworth are both. We're gonna do the first MVC scoring leaders list here, probably in the next couple days on MVC Sports Today. And just from my calculations, Hollingsworth and Shenna should be, I won't say, probably middle of the pack in terms of the top 20 leaders points wise. So.
And Tim, Shenna is a hell of a lacrosse goalie.
Really?
He is making noise all across the MVC, and is just his game improves on the off season. He goes to the indoor stuff and he plays goalie for anyone that needs a goalie. And most of the teams don't bring a goalie, so he ends up playing goalie for 6-7 hours, and he's going to make some noise this coming year and in his senior year. And Hollingsworth had a great second half as an attacker for the Methuen lacrosse team.
Yeah, had a game-winning goal for him.
Yep.
Nice.
So you a couple of kids that are multi-sport athletes, and we're looking for big things for the rest of the ice hockey season for them.
So we teased indoor track earlier. The boys. So the MVC championship meet is Thursday. The boys are going into it 9 and 11. They're 5th right now, and it's a dual meet. So they'll face Andover in the dual meet on Thursday. They went 5-5 in the second meet. In the second MVC meet on January 3rd, Stanley Hansey, we've said his name over and over again. Stanley Hansey ran a 35.31 in the 300. Best time in the state this season and a school record breaker. That qualified him for the New Balance Indoor National Meet. And then Methuen goes on to win the 4x200. Hansey was part of that, setting a school record with a time of 1:32:51. Hansey, John Daugert, Michael Susi, Nassim Bendimarad, all part of the 4x200 team, and that's also the fastest time in the state this season according to milesplit.com. So Methuen boys hold 2 of the fastest times in the state. They had a tough face to face, head to head in division Ended 2-8 in division in these meets, but 9-11 overall in the MVC meets. They've been having some great runs in these classics on the weekends, these mini meets. So good things brewing on both the boys and the girls front.
And Tim, the cool part is, I went to the JV meet, I believe on Wednesday, as Julia is first time doing indoor track, and Methuen had a home meet, so I got to really see the field house in action.
In a track meet,
and it was absolutely packed, and it's just one of those things that it's a sight to see, which you haven't seen in so long. I've never seen one.
Yeah.
And as a basketball player, I really never saw an indoor meet growing up in Lawrence. We always went and traveled because we didn't have an indoor facility.
Yeah.
So it was good to see, and there's so many kids at Methuen that are doing track. So the coaches at the track program really need to tip their cap, because they have so many kids working out. And you see it every day driving home from work. You see these kids outside and pretty much even the worst weather running and working out, which is such a great thing.
So is it regulation so they can host a varsity meet there?
I'm going to be honest. I'm not quite sure.
Yeah.
I'm not quite sure. So from right now, I think they've just done JV stuff. So I'm not sure if they have enough space. I saw the shot put going on. I saw the high jump, and then obviously all the sprinting, the mile, the 1,000-meter. So I don't know, obviously the relays, but I'm not sure if it's varsity regulation.
I mean, obviously no one has enough space for it since they're all going to the Reggie Lewis facility.
Right.
So, but that JV meet must have been really cool.
No, it was, and when Lawrence and Central and who else was there, Haverhill maybe, when those schools don't have to get buses and go all the way down, the money they're saving is a win-win.
Awesome.
So Methuen once again stepping up and improving their own facilities.
All right, so we mentioned the wrestling result already. In terms of earlier tonight, Methuen moves to 6-0, 2-0 in the MVC with a win over North Andover, 48-27. I think I said. They're on a roll. They went 3-0 at a quad meet on January 4th. Took down King Philip, Leominster, Greater Lawrence with relative ease. C.J. Brown, Michael Crow, Dom DeMeo, Jack Stoddard, another young kid at 106, Stoddard, Adam Rader, Corey Bard, Dan Guzman. They all went 3-0 on the day. And Bard at heavyweight, he beat the Framingham tourney champ Yusuf Lofty with a 4-2 decision, which is huge. And Bard is likely going to end up in the state rankings come Friday as well with that win.
And Corey's a unsung hero. He played football all year, didn't get a ton of time. I had the honor and privilege of hearing him talk to the team. His mom was a big helper this year as far as the Thursday night meals. And Corey is such a great kid, and he's very, very soft-spoken, but he really just wants to be a part of Methuen High School, and what a win for him. And as far as them winning that match, that was a huge point turnaround for them as well. That was not supposed to be Corey winning that. So it is really cool to see a kid like Corey, who has really worked hard for the past 6 or 7 years, to just be on the field, on the mat, and to be recognized as a kid who works hard. So I'm really pumped for Corey and his family.
Now, we talked about this in the interview we did with C.J. Brown last week. We talked to him on Thursday, the day after the meet. But I mean, and again, you can watch that online. It's on the Methuen High School Athletics Twitter feed. It's on NBC Sports Today. We'll repost it on Methuen Today and Ranger Nation Radio. But
Chester is a great kid.
Huh?
Chester is a great kid. Connor can't speak enough about how just mature and just he's a solid human being.
And he's on fire. He's having a phenomenal year. He keeps getting better and better. I mean, Billerica is no joke, and they were down 5 points to Billerica 39-34, all came down. It's it's what you dream of as an athlete. All comes down to CJ at 170 against John Bishop, who's a pretty good wrestler for Bill Ricca, and CJ scores the pin, gets 6 points. They end up winning 40-39, and the crowd goes crazy.
All the kid had to do was not get pinned.
Yeah, exactly. And CJ was like,
away.
"None ya." You're going and CJ. I won't say soft spoken. He's confident, but he's not like braggadocious.
No, not at all.
And I got a little bit out of him in the interview to say, yeah, that was kind of cool.
Yeah.
That's a good moment. And when you're wrestling for Coach James, it's kind of Belichick-y and everything stays level.
I will say this though, the wife did show me a video of Stoddard's match. That was pretty last Friday in the Pope John.
Yep.
I'm not Pope John. The who was there? Greater Lawrence match.
Yep. King Philip, Greater Lawrence, Leominster.
King Philip, Leominster, and she did say, "Look in the back. The coaches freaked out. The coaches were jumping up." So as much as they're all calm, cool, and collected, there is certain matches that I think that they get pretty excited for. When they win, because
he's all in, and all the coaches,
incredible.
They are all in on those kids. So and they're all in on the matches in terms of giving them the emotion when they deliver,
And they do. And Tim, and we were talking earlier, they have some pretty huge upcoming meets, sectionals and divisionals and tri-states and New England's coming up, and people really need to maybe think about going for a little while and taking the time, because Methuen puts on an absolute impressive wrestling tournament. They have things squared away. They have the mats. They're organized. And most people from my few times going complain about the day just drags on. Things aren't organized. You don't know what's going on.
There's so much downtime between the
downtime.
The mats set and they're setting the scoring. No, not in the Methuen tournament.
There's times where they bring food and extra things to Methuen, and they realize they're in and out in 4 or 5 hours, and they didn't need all the garbage they brought.
They're not used to it. Yeah, they're not used to it.
They're not used to it, and that's why when people say, "Oh, where should we have the tournament?" Like, let's go back to Methuen. So the hope is over the next couple of months is that the 4 big meets, we're hoping that to raise some money through concessions and other things going on to be able to buy the wrestling, a couple of new mats. So if people are interested in wrestling, really go down and support it and buy some things at the concession stand, and obviously the entrance fee and things like that. But we're really looking to support this program that, they really could use a couple of new mats, because those things are old and dilapidated.
So what else is on your mind tonight? We got Stars of the Week, and then I'll say goodnight to you and play our interview. But what else is on your mind in terms of things going on in Ranger Nation?
I think with some of a lot of good individual success, Tim, but I think right now team-wise they're struggling. Girls basketball is struggling. Boys have a losing record. But just people to remember that you still show up to a game. Yeah. Still go and catch a game. You have the Methuen High School Scholarship Bingo coming up in a couple of weeks. So there's some things competing. But you should be at one of those events. You got to get yourself to a home game. If you have a little girl or a little boy that's playing youth basketball, bring your kid to a high school game. Bring them to a home game. Buy a hot dog, buy some popcorn, and go and sit and cheer on. Because when little kids see the older high school kids playing a sport like that, that's when they start to see, I could do that, or I want to be on that court someday. And if you're not, you're sitting home and your kid's on Xbox, you're really not helping them at all. I know we've talked a little bit. We're hoping to do some work with Become Fitness and Brendan, and I hope that we can do that over the next couple of weeks and get him more involved in the show and some sponsorships. But there is so many kids going out and working out there because he's recruiting them in a way that they feel welcome. And it's the same thing at the high school. If you go to the high school and you go to a game, you're going to feel part of the atmosphere because it is a great atmosphere. Coaches and girls and boys after the game are going to talk to you. They're going to let you come up to them and walk on the court afterwards and do all that. And that's something people need to take advantage of.
You got Greater Lawrence on Sunday for the boys. You got Chelmsford boys on Tuesday. That's Methuen boys hoops. You've got what do we say? You've got for the girls, Central Catholic coming up on the 21st. The big showdown with Central Catholic. The girls hoops is on the road a little bit here, but again, whether we're talking hoops, we're talking hockey. And listen, it's cold outside. I get it. This is a great night out. It's a great night out, great day out, just to get out and support the youth sports, and just have a good day out as a family for sure,
Never mind seeing great facilities. You may walk by and see the sign that says free skate on this weekend. All of a sudden now your kids skating when you never thought they would because you end up going to the ice rink or whatnot. You got a ton of youth things going on. So hopefully people will get out and go check out, one of these high school games.
You're getting close to, I would imagine you're getting close to kind of amping up on the golf tournament in terms of the organizing, right?
Yes, good point. I'm hoping before the end of January we'll have a team meeting where people will get together and really, obviously the date's already picked in July. But yeah, I'm hoping to get a little bit more help this year. Where it was the first one, I kind of took it on myself. Wanted to make sure all the I's were dotted and T's were crossed. Obviously, Pam and Lorraine were.
No, but I mean that's what you and the missus do.
No, I know,
but you're go-getters.
But to do this long term, we definitely need. We're going to need a team effort and more people involved. Matt and I had probably a half-hour conversation last night about getting the coaches involved. And when you hand a check over, Tim, for $20,000, and you have a new camera system going up in the field house, you have a new end zone camera going up on the football field in the fall. Obviously, in the spring, the lacrosse teams or soccer teams could benefit. New uniforms at this point. For hockey, wrestling, everyone is kind of. What's the
camera system?
For the field house, it's going to be a huddle camera that will be able to, and we'll be tapping into this. They'll be videoing pretty much everything in the field house, and you can tap into it through Google. So it was,
awesome.
it was a nice little, I think, a $5,000 investment the boosters gave, and this will help out the youth tournaments there. So like youth basketball when they have their playoff game,
everything.
A grandparent in Florida can now watch their 7th grader play in the in-house tournament. So we're working with Ed Lucier and the.
This is the always-on camera that's capturing everything.
You got it.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So we'll be able to kind of tap into a lot of that for our few shows that we do. And you and I got to get to the high school and do a wrestling meet like we did the volleyball game, Tim. That would be pretty intense.
We'll look at the schedule here, make that happen. All right, stars of the week. Your AFC urgent care. And listen, we've been away for a little bit, so we got some multiple T-shirts to give away. So your stars of the week. CJ Brown's already got his T-shirt. You saw that photo on
online.
Yep. Ariamis Ramos, gymnastics. Stephanie Taragno, girls hoops. So CJ, Ariamis, and Ariamis. I think I spelled it wrong. And Stephanie. So congratulations to those three. They are our stars of the week. Any final thoughts before I let you go? Before we start the Aidan interview.
No, I'm just happy to be back. I love Aidan. He's a great kid. I've known him for multiple years. I did coach him, so I wanted to get the Bill coaching moment.
I was going to say, okay, awesome. Thank you. We got the coaching moment of the week in there. Brought to you by Bill Bryant.
Yeah, no, he's a great kid. Obviously, his twin sister Kaya is a phenomenal hockey goalie. So I'm really happy for Aidan to start getting his props in hockey, as his sister has been killing it for 6 years.
And
for the girls.
And you'll hear he says some funny stuff just in terms of the relationship.
I'm looking forward to it.
So
because I can see that shy Kaya walking into the house with her state championship ring, rubbing it in her brother. yeah, what's up? Here you go, baby. So no, Tim, I'm just happy to be back. I love the show, and I know even the MVC Gridiron, I still have during the holiday tournament multiple people from other towns and coming up and just saying, hey, you got what you're doing is awesome, because we're talking about people's kids.
Yeah,
we're talking about good kids working hard, and it's all positive. So people need to tune in and really become part of Ranger Nation Radio.
Tune into this show. Listen, tune into the stuff we're doing on MVC Sports today. All the folks around the MVC were saying, when are you going to do some more stuff around the MVC other than football? Well, we're doing it, and we're doing a lot. I'm doing a lot of interviews with kids.
I will tell you that. Really good interviews with the girl from Drake It and Chum. It's
we like just posted one today with Ben Diwali from Haverhill, the wrestler. Does not look like a wrestler. But he's one of the best at 113 in the state. I mean, he's just like completely unassuming, and to hear him talk, you would think he belongs on like the Wonder Years or something. It was crazy. It was funny. It was a good interview. But I mean, yeah, we're getting all around. We're getting to all the sports, and so check that out on MVC Sports today, and keep supporting us with Ranger Nation Radio. All right. Have a great week. Hope the knees are on the mend.
And I appreciate it.
We will talk throughout the week. All right. Here is our interview with the star of the boys hockey team, Aidan Hollingsworth. Tim Wood here on Ranger Nation Radio and MVC Sports today. Very excited to be talking to one of the leaders, we can easily say that, of the Methuen boys hockey team, one of our weekly MVPs in the MVC Sports Today vote. Aidan Hollingsworth, how are you, sir?
I'm good. How are you?
Very good. All right. So, in terms of just talk about this team is young. This Rangers team is young. You are the grizzled veteran of a young team. What has that been like so far in terms of how you're seeing this team come together?
Well, it's a huge honor to be the veteran. I think a lot of the kids look up to me, and I do my best to try to set the right example for them. We are a young team, and we're going to learn, and we're going to get better as the year goes on.
You guys have had some high spots. The overtime quote unquote win versus Concord Carlisle. I don't know how they're tracking it in terms of it being a tie. I saw a win. That's all. And you saw a win on the ice. So, the Revere game was outstanding. Definitely been some highs. In terms of what you're seeing from the young guys, how is the kind of the mix of the young guys and the older veterans coming together?
Well, the young guys, they have a lot of potential, and we're using them on our top lines, and they're gonna be really good in the future. The mix, we were working pretty well together. Old guys working with new guys. Coach just does a great job of getting us to work together, team bonding, all that. We're really good friends, and
tell us a little bit about Coach Blackwell and just how what his style is and how he's, as you said, kind of brought everybody together.
Well, Coach was my 5th grade teacher at the Marsh, and I've always looked up to him. And he's a get your job done type of guy. And whether it's school or a game, you have to get your job done. You have to look out for the guy next to you, and I've taken that with me through my years.
What is it like, kind of having a teacher become your coach?
Well, it's kind of funny, but it's good because I've really built a nice relationship with him over the years, and I've been close with him, and I wouldn't want anyone else to be my coach.
Good people, and you played with his son as well.
Hmm.
So in terms of how the season's playing out, how do you feel in terms of how this team is taking the losses and taking the positives from every situation?
Well, every game, whether it's a win or loss, we learn. Whether we played good, whether we played bad, and the team's just going to continue to grow and get better as the season goes on.
So you have a little bit of a greater perspective in life instead of just kind of every game being the all encompassing end of the world or the highest peak. You've fought off form of cancer on your leg. What is that in terms of it being in the rearview mirror now? And I just want to confirm, you're still getting tests and everything's been great.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. In terms of having been through that and been through that scare and kind of had to deal with some life and death moments in terms of hearing that C word thrown out, how has that kind of helped you in terms of coming back to the team and leading?
Well, I think it just made me stronger and a better person because now I know I can't take life for granted. I can't take anything for granted. So I think I can show the other guys on the team what it's like to be a leader, to not take things for granted, and I think they'll look up to me.
I read great Tribune article by Kyle Gaudet back in 2018. Read that. You talked about how hockey has always been the safe space, has always been the place that you feel the most comfortable. Where did that start for you?
I think when I was really young, I've always looked up to the Bruins. I've always looked up to any professional hockey player because it's your game. You love it, and there's nothing you'd rather be doing than skating on the ice with a bunch of friends, shooting pucks. It's a great feeling, and I think everyone feels the same. I think everyone finds their sport to be their safe place, no matter what.
Absolutely. And you also play lacrosse. Had a big game-winning goal this fall. How does lacrosse help you, and vice versa? Hockey and how do hockey and lacrosse go together?
Well, it definitely keeps me in shape. But there's a few hockey players on the lacrosse team, so I feel like we kind of built chemistry that way. Catching and throwing a ball with the stick, I feel like it's kind of worked my hands too. Yeah.
Absolutely good hand-eye coordination.
Yeah.
Tim Wood here on MVC Sports Today, Ranger Nation Radio, talking with Aidan Hollingsworth, the Rangers boys hockey captain. So 3.9 GPA in the fall, 3.3 overall. Where does school fit into this? How have you managed to find that student athlete balance in terms of fitting everything in?
Well, my sister does it, so I'm expected to do it as well. My parents are very supportive of me to get my things done, and I do what I'm supposed to do. That's all.
How have you, in terms of the time management, in terms of just kind of fitting it all in, when did you start kind of figuring that out? In terms of, I know I got to get the schoolwork done, but I got to get the practice in. When did you start to figure it out and kind of master it?
My dad's always been on me because he's always said school's more important than hockey, even though, I like hockey a lot more than I like school.
You'd argue, yeah.
I'd argue. Yeah, my parents have always just been on me just to get your schoolwork done. School's important, and I love hockey, so hockey's kind of like a reward at the end of the day after school.
So in terms of, you mentioned your sister Kaya, she's the goalie on the Red Rangers team. How are you guys in terms of siblings? In terms of, I mean, like 1 to 10, where would you put the competition level between the two of you at?
I don't think the scale goes high enough. We're frenemies. We're best friends, but at the same time, we don't get along. But we'll always look out for each other, and we'll always be best friends. We'll always have each other's backs.
I got 3 older sisters, so I know exactly. You put it the perfect way. Yeah, I mean,
Right.
it's in terms of just seeing the success that she's had. Did you see her? Did you see that skill like right out of the gate when you guys first went to the learn to skate session back in the day?
I didn't start to see her true talent till around 7th, 8th grade because she always used to play on my boys' teams. So she was always up a level. She was always getting high-quality shots, playing with great players.
Yeah.
So I think that's how she really developed into the great goalie that she is today.
She take a lot of lumps, a lot of losses, a lot of lumps in goal playing against the boys, or was she just knocking their socks off too?
A little bit of both. She would adjust, and that just made her better.
Now, what was that like for you, just in terms of having to kind of defend having the girl on the boys' team?
Yeah, well, it definitely made me more cautious because I'd have to look out for her. And, I was always worried on the ice. I didn't want her to get hit. Just always cautious. Yeah.
Now that's a weird word for a hockey player, because your coach, Coach Blackwell describes you as just tenacious, always after it. So it's interesting to hear you use the word cautious.
Yeah. Well, it's my sister we're talking about, so I have to look after her.
Absolutely. In terms of where do you see yourself continuing to play hockey after high school?
I do. I don't know where yet, but the passion I have for the game will only make me play as long as I can.
Absolutely. I mean, are you in that process at this point? Kind of trying to figure out where?
Yeah, I mean, I'm still applying to schools for college,
Yep.
but I'm definitely trying to figure that out as soon as I can.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
So tell me a little bit in terms of your teammates, like who's the guy that you've been playing with forever that you guys are just kind of know what each other's doing on the ice?
Ethan Shenna. He was on my Cyclones teams. He was on a bunch of my youth teams, and now he's my left winger. So we have great chemistry. We always know where we are, and we're best friends too. So it makes it better.
Awesome. Who's the one guy in terms of if you could pick one guy, because you're obviously a leader to all, but is there one of these young guys that you've kind of taken under your wing more than others?
One of the freshmen, Owen Nealand. He's a quiet guy, but he has a lot of skill and a lot of potential, and I think he's going to be an amazing player when he grows up.
Describe what MVC DCL. Describe the level of play that you see on a week-to-week basis.
Oh, well, there's some great teams. Cambridge is a very physical, fast, skillful team. You have Drake at Tingsboro that we're playing today, another hard-hitting, physical, skillful team. The MVC DCL, there's a lot of great teams, and I think we fit in well. We're a hard-working team. We have some skill. We can throw the body around. I think the MVC DCL is very competitive and is a very skillful league.
You've been, I mean, you're part of that team that made it past the first round since, for the first time since '92.
Mm-hmm.
Went on to the EMAS Division II semis. In terms of just having that experience, how do you pass that on to these guys that we can get there?
I think it's a lead by example mentality. So every shift, skate as hard as you can. Every shift, do everything you can as well as you can, so you can show these younger guys what to do in the right situations and hopefully form them into a player that always does the right thing.
So I asked you what you did before, kind of pre-interview. I asked you what do you do for fun, and you're saying hockey's my fun.
Hockey is my fun, yeah.
uh, is there ever that? Is there ever? Do you ever feel pressure on the ice, or is it just always fun?
It's always fun. I mean, yeah, there's definitely pressure or pre-game jitters. Like you're always nervous, but hockey's my fun. When I'm home after practice, I might play NHL, might go in my basement, stick handle, shoot a few pucks, practice. Hockey's just everything for me.
Just never stopping, huh?
Just never
Like
stopping. Same
even
thing with
even
my
your
sister.
video game is NHL 20. I mean,
Hmm.
are you? Do you watch the Bruins, or are you the guy that just prefers to be playing? I don't like to watch as much, other than your own, other than your own team stuff. Or do you like watching the Bruins as well?
I watch any hockey as often as I can.
Yeah.
Last weekend, I was just watching the World Junior Championships that were taking place in, I think, Slovakia. So yeah, I'm always watching hockey, whether it's the Bruins, college, might be watching my sister's game here
Yep.
at the rink.
Yep.
Always watching hockey.
Nice. Who's your go-to guy on the Bruins?
Probably David Pastrnak. He's a very skillful, flashy player, and I think everyone likes him.
And the Bruins are your team, obviously, in the NHL 20.
Yep.
Nice. Who's the most competitive teammate when you're playing with friends? When you're playing NHL 20?
Probably James Trussell.
Yeah.
No matter what he does, whether it's school or hockey, he always does it with as much effort as he can, and it's great because it just makes everyone better.
Now, do you know how to get under his skin when you're playing NHL 20 in terms of just psyching him out a little bit?
Oh, of course. I know all my teammates' sweet spots.
You got to. That's part of it. So where do you rank in the hierarchy in terms of NHL 20?
Probably number one.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Not afraid to say it?
Not afraid to say it.
Who's chasing you? Who's closest?
Probably Brian Corcoran
Okay.
and another freshman, Jack Allard. They're pretty good.
Nice. All right. In terms of what's next for you, are you? How do you kind of keep focused on the here and now, knowing that there's a next?
Well, I think you just enjoy it while you can. And Coach Blackwell has told us every practice that the seasons go by fast. I remember being a freshman. I never thought I'd be where I am now. I never thought I'd be a senior my last year of hockey, maybe. But I just enjoy it while I can, and hopefully I can go on to play at the next level for the rest of my life.
You feel like you're the guy that no matter 45, you're gonna still be playing in rec leagues.
Yeah, whether it's recreational or wherever I end up, I love the game.
As long as you can put on the skates, you're gonna be playing.
Yep, as long as I can.
Nice. Anything that we haven't hit on that you kind of want to get out there? How about shout outs in terms of you mentioned your parents. What are their names?
My dad's name is Jim. I love him, and I love my mom, Robin. They're both big supporters of me, and I don't know where I'd be without them. I also want to give shout-outs to my assistant captains, Charles DeVolio, James Trussell, and Josh Perkins. They do a lot for me, and they're great leaders as well. They're also great hockey players. And my whole team, I love them. They're my brothers, and there's no one else I'd rather be with.
Now, tell me, you guys got out the vote for like any time. I mean, Methuen, Drake, so far it's been Methuen, Drake. Like when we do these MVC votes every week, it's like you guys know how to get out the vote. Like, what was that like, or were you even paying attention, or was anybody telling you what is it about Methuen in terms of getting out the vote?
Well, the first person that told me about my poll was my sister. I had no clue that it was posted on Twitter, but once I found out, I let my teammates know, I let my parents know, and they, I hope, voted for me.
They did. The word spread. I get all kind of the retweets in terms of folks that are sending out vote for Aidan, vote for great kid, vote for and the word definitely got out. I think honestly it speaks to who you are. I think it speaks to what you're a leader by example, and you've been just a phenomenal representative for Methuen High School and for Methuen student athletes. So it was awesome to see it because you definitely you're not out there looking for recognition, but it's definitely good to see you get a little bit.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Any last shout outs before we let you go? Teachers.
Mr. Cripps, who was my AP U.S. History teacher last year, he taught me a lot. He was a lacrosse lover, so we bonded over that. But he's one of my favorite teachers, and I love him.
Nice. Nice. Aidan Hollingsworth, a pleasure speaking to you. Really, really appreciate you getting on here and wishing you guys well against Drake tonight and just with the rest of the season here. Pleasure talking to you. Thanks for the time today.
Thank you so much.
So great job there by Aidan Hollingsworth. Like I said, a pleasure to speak to. Just a great kid. Great, just could not have been more just humble and appreciative and respectful and just endless shout outs for his teammates. So listen, really appreciate his time. Boys fell tonight 5-4. A tough battle, or no, 4-3. Excuse me, 4-3. Tough battle with Drake at Tingsboro. So Aidan had a goal, Ethan had a goal, Colby Scott had a goal. So and the girls, Methuen-Tewksbury Red Rangers, are about to pick up their fourth win. They scored a power play goal with just over 2 minutes left to play. They are up 3-0. Lydia Pendleton with the goal, assist from Jess Driscoll. So another win on the night for Methuen sports family. Red Rangers looking strong again. If you're looking for something to do Saturday night, something fun, get the family out. It's going to be a great night at the rink. 7 p.m. They're going to be playing HPNA, which as much as we joke about it in terms of having fun with the multi-school affiliations, they are a tough team, and they have a target set at Methuen-Tewksbury. They circled this game on the schedule. I think Methuen-Tewksbury's coming into their own in terms of finding their identity for the season. Could not be happening at a better time. 7 p.m. Saturday night, a great night out for the family. They put on a great show there at the rink. So go out, support the Red Rangers. Listen, show's going to be online on Methuen Today, on Ranger Nation Radio. I'm going to post it on the Ranger Nation Radio Twitter, on MVC Sports Today Twitter. And we will also post the podcast here probably in a couple hours. So that will be, check out the podcast. Let's see if I got the podcast information. I always do this when I put up the podcast information, because this mutes it when I put this screen up. Spotify, Radio Public, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcast, TuneIn, Stitcher. That's where you can get the podcast version of Ranger Nation Radio. All right, folks, that is the show. For Bill Bryant, Tim Wood, hey, really appreciate you joining us here as always. If you love the show, let us know. If you're watching this on MVC Sports Today, you want this for your town, again, Tim at MVCSportsToday.com. Let me know. We can make that happen. So, again, Tim Wood, for Bill Bryan, huge thanks to Matt Curran, to Olivia Barron, Stephanie Tartagno, for giving up their time for interviews. Aidan Hollingsworth, great interview. Really appreciate that. And for you, for watching. We'll talk to you next Wednesday here on Ranger Nation Radio, presented by AFC Urgent Care.